Boom, everybody. Welcome to LinkedUp on LinkedIn. I'm Peter Clarke, Red TV. And listen, I'm excited today, but I'm also nervous. I'm nervous because the internet has been just punching us around all morning long. So if we have that trouble today, I just want to give it to you in advance. Welcome to this show. I'm so excited to talk to my next guest here today, because just of her background, she has a tremendous background in all kinds of different areas, which makes her a great conversationalist. This is what I love. Leadership awareness coach, facilitator, and consultant. I think close to 17 years in television broadcasting, which is unbelievable. She's a seasoned corporate executive with a background in communications and HR. And now Tara is using concepts about brain-based coaching from NeuroLeadership Institute. Whoa. Okay, NeuroLeader, which correlates to the connection between great leadership and compassion. Can you imagine all of that? And all of that is here with us today. I am so excited. Please welcome Tara McCool. How are you?
Hello, I'm great. Thank you. What a nice intro. Wow. Thank you.
Can you imagine that was all you? That was all you. And it took us 2 minutes to get 2 minutes of the show is gone just because of all that you've done, which is absolutely fantastic. So thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it.
I've been around for a while.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. First and foremost, how are you and your family? Everyone safe, everyone healthy? Yes?
Thank you for asking. Yes. Thank you. We're all safe, healthy, happy. You?
As best we can. I'm carrying as many crosses as everybody else. So all first world problems, no complaints, but absolutely right. Very, very grateful to be inside this minus 18,000 degrees outside today. So very grateful, very, very grateful for that. So no, that's wonderful to hear. So, again, I'm so excited for you because you just launched a brand new website, 𝙤𝙤𝙣𝙠𝙚𝙤. And so we're going to make sure everyone knows about that. And I love where you're going with your coaching journey, and all about leadership and empowerment and empathy and compassion. And these are just great subjects that we want to talk about today. So before we jump to all of that, let me just put up to make sure that everyone here on LinkedIn, because we are linked up on LinkedIn. We're live on LinkedIn, but we're also live on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and Twitch and anything you can kind of say with a little funny word. We're probably on that as well. Here is your LinkedIn profile so people can go out and learn a little bit more about you. They can also go out to 𝙤𝙤𝙣𝙠𝙚𝙤, which I want them to go to. So let's talk about that. 𝙤𝙤𝙣𝙠𝙚𝙤, Tara McCool Coaching. Let's just start there. Give me a Cole's Notes, a little overview of what you're doing right now in the world of coaching.
So right now, my focus is on leadership awareness, exactly what you said. So I like to be able to work with leaders and help them gain a little bit of awareness about what being a leader means. So, a lot of people end up in leadership positions and they've never had any kind of leadership training, and suddenly they've got people under them, and they're having to manage all of their expectations, and it's a whole different world. So sometimes people need a little bit of help in that department.
Yeah, sometimes you just need to talk it out with somebody and have somebody who has had a different perspective and some different training and so on. Now, if we're going to jump right into leadership, let's start with that right now. What, in your mind, I mean, because again, you have a 27 to 30 year work career, if you will, and we'll touch on the different verticals of that in a minute. But what's your definition of leadership? What is leadership?
Leadership is, I think, having the awareness to understand your gaps, to have the vulnerability to ask people where their gaps are, and to have the compassion to be able to empower people to do what they need to do within the organization to develop their own skills. And really, it's about putting the emphasis on the people you're working with rather than yourself. That is being a leader. When you're focused more on what they're doing and how you're helping to develop them rather than yourself, I think that you've hit that leadership trajectory.
Yeah. And I guess again, you're throwing in great words there, again, compassion. We're going to talk more about that as we go along, the idea of compassion, empathy, these kinds of things. And I love that in your definition of leadership. Now, I'm going to tie your two worlds together here for a second. You've been in broadcasting for, like 17 years in the past. You've interviewed people from all walks of life, whether it's celebrities and politicians and community leaders and things like that. Now, in
Mhm.
the corporate world, you've also, worked with and for people in positions of power and leadership. So I'm wondering, in those two worlds, from your experience, what are some of the consistent characteristics or traits of what you would consider a great leader?
Hmm. That's a really good question. I think that I always respect people, and I see great leadership qualities in people who are willing to say, "I'm sorry,"
Mm,
or "I don't know," or "Can you help
there's
me?"
one. There's one. How about that? I don't know.
"I don't know," or "What do you think?" And the people who are willing to sit and actively listen rather than needing to be heard all the time. And so that has been consistent throughout my career. And I didn't really think much of leadership actually until I got into the corporate world. And then I
Mm,
started to really look at it and understand the impact of leadership and the impact that leaders can have on the people they work with, both positive and negative. So that's a big responsibility that comes with that title of being a leader, right? But also so much opportunity. I mean, if you see it as an opportunity to be able to develop and turn people into great leaders as well who are under you, I think it's great. I think it's fun to be a leader. But a lot of people find it very difficult because they just want to head down and focus on what they want to do.
yeah.
And I understand that. But there's the skills stuff and then there's the people management stuff. And you
Yeah.
have to be able to do both in order to be a good leader.
Yeah. So characteristics being like, again, people skills, real people skills,
Skills
and
and caring, just
yeah.
caring, being able to lift your head up from your desk and say,
Oh, that's what we're referring to, everybody. The internet has been playing tricks with us. I'm so sorry if we're experiencing some freeze up right now. And it looks like, are you still there with us, Tara? Oh, there you're back. You're back. Oh, she's not. I apologize, everybody. Yeah, listen, we're at the mercy of the internet today. It is minus 1,000 outside right now. So, and there you go. I'm not surprised that that kind of happened today, but that's okay. We're going to get Tara back any second here now. Yeah. So today, just to reset this interview here today, is that we're talking to Tara McCool, who has just launched a brand new website about leadership and bringing together empathy and compassion into the workplace for leaders. And I think it's a super relevant conversation that we should all be having, especially at the C-suite level, HR level, these kinds of things, simply because 2020 and into 2021 with everything that's happened from the global pandemic. So people are working from home. People are trying to figure out how to lead their teams. And it's very, very difficult, obviously, to maybe show that empathy and compassion for others during this time. So we're waiting to get Tara back into the conversation. In the meantime, I'm gonna go through some of the ideas that we're talking about here. Again, Tara McCool has launched, a new website, www.taramccool.com. And what she's again emphasizing right now is talking to leaders, C-suite leaders specifically, about bringing compassion and empathy back into the conversation of their leadership skills and how they lead from within, whether it's their customers, whether it's their internal customers, people that report to them, and so on. So I love some of the things that you'll see on the website. As a matter of fact, let me just do that right now. She's obviously, I'm thinking she's having some problem. She's backstage. No, she's on the wrong link right now. So I'm going to share the screen of her website is where we're going to go right now. I'm going to go onto the website for Tara, and this is the website that she just recently put this up yesterday, I think it was. So I just thought, what a great way to get this going here is to have the website up so that you can kind of see, and it's brand new. So how employees are doing this one. There she is. I see her in the back in the green room. So we're going to bring her back in. But here's what the website looks like, which is amazing. She's done a great job. And basically, there you go. Lead with compassion, empathy, grace, and grace. I love that word, grace. That's one of my favorite words. And watch your business results improve. Okay, so here we go, everybody. I think I have her back right now. Look at that. Boom.
sorry,
You
I'm
know what?
sorry.
You don't have to apologize. That's the internet. I'm going to have to call my service provider.
I'll call mine too.
I'm going to call my service provider right now is what I'm going to do. That's okay. So no, we were talking about great traits of leaders. So I just wanted to I'll round up that conversation. The reason why I asked that is because you've had some great conversations with even celebrities and politicians and people in the community. Did you find when you spoke to people like that, when they had this essence of being a leader, were there specific things that you can think of that stood out while you were talking to them?
Yes. A connection.
Oh,
And so they made an effort to find out what I was interested in. They made an effort to really listen to me and ask good questions. And so that was one thing. I mean, when you had a politician or a celebrity who came in and asked questions about you, wow, like that made an impact, right? Because they care. And so that's the same with leaders. Do you care about your people, and do they feel like you care and that the work that they're putting in is valued? That makes a big difference.
Absolutely. No, I love that when they lead with the idea that they're asking you questions. They're actually concerned about what you're doing and thinking and saying. No, I love that. I appreciate that. Let me ask you this about your website. You mentioned on the website how you watched leaders in your corporate environment. People in your corporate environment had like an impact on their lives, both positively and negatively. But you said it really hit home when you started actually leading a team, that you made mistakes and you were humbled by those mistakes. So without any specific details or of people and things like that, can you share one experience that stands out for you that made you think like, wow, I need to be better at this. I need to be a better leader. Can you share with that maybe one example of that?
I have way more than one.
Yeah, that's why I said just pick one.
I made so many mistakes as a leader, but what I'm really grateful for is that I had people who were willing to come up to me afterwards and tell me. Because that's the problem, is a lot of times you just don't know.
So what would they tell you? Like, that's what I'm saying. So someone's going to pull you aside and say, hey, you were too hard on this person in a meeting, or that's a kind of a detail I'm kind of looking for. Is there something that you can think of, and just give me a roundabout way of, without a name or anything like that?
Yeah, I had a big team meeting one time, and well, many times, but for this particular instance, we were having a big team meeting, and I brought up a whole bunch of things, and we were in kind of a crisis mode where we were needing to go through some different things, and I had to put it all out on the table and say, this is what we're doing, and these are our steps to get there, and we have to get moving, and these are expectations and whatnot. And somebody actually not only one person, but a couple people afterwards said, I don't know if you noticed so-and-so's reaction when you were talking about that, but I think that when you said X, it rubbed them the wrong way, and they may be concerned. And so, a few things happened there where, first off, I was grateful for the feedback that I had miscommunicated in a way I hadn't intended.
Right.
To think about how I was actually conducting meetings. I needed to think about how I was positioning messaging when we needed to move forward and quickly on something. And I needed to take a look around the table and really understand body language in a different way.
Kinesthetics, right? Watch what people do. Yeah.
And the other thing is that I felt good about the fact that they felt safe to come and talk to me and tell me. And not only that, but they had their team members back. So they had compassion and empathy towards how somebody else might be feeling. And then also compassion towards me to be able to say, you got to right this wrong.
Right.
So just check in, make sure that they're okay. And so they had my back and they had their back. And so that was really impactful. And I've been able to take that and learn from it moving forward. That's another thing, is that when you're a leader, you're always learning.
Yes.
You have to take those opportunities and say, man, I just learned a lot from that person who took a risk to come up and tell me that I was a jerk.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this about the next step. Where does forgiveness play in that? Do you actually then go up to someone and say, listen, hey, I just want to apologize because I didn't think I recognized that at the time. Is that part of the process?
100%. We're all humans. We all make mistakes. If you're a leader, you've probably made a lot of mistakes in how you've dealt with people because, again, sometimes you don't realize how different people receive information and how you're coming across. But where the integrity piece comes in is how you deal with those situations
Yeah.
after you actually find out that you've hurt someone or you've made someone anxious and you didn't intend to, of course. I think most leaders have zero intention of hurting their people in any way.
Right. No, see, you touched on a word that I'm super, super sensitive to, which is intention. Intention is such a powerful, powerful word. And again, if your intention was not to hurt somebody, then that has to be, you have to mention that. You have to say that. Oh, see, we're losing. Oh, you're back. Here you go. You're
I'm
back.
back. I'm sorry about that.
Listen, you never apologize. I'll just watch for it as it's
All right.
happening. Everybody, I'm also just apologizing to the audience as well. We're at the mercy of the internet today, and that's it. But we're forging forward. We're forging forward. Yeah. Again, attention is everything. So again, I don't think any leader, most good leaders, obviously are trying to make people feel bad. But.
Oh.
Right. But making that connection of recognizing when it happens is another thing. Let me ask you about this. I mentioned in the introduction about this idea of NeuroLeadership Institute, and you've done some training through that
Am I back?
particular one of the many different coaching things that you've done. The NeuroLeadership. So it focuses on organizations like, again, more about science, more about the science and how the brain works and things like that. So why did you go in that direction for your formal training in coaching? Why with the brain and neuroscience?
It interests me where, I did take some other leadership development and coaching courses as well, which were really valuable, really, really valuable. But the NeuroLeadership helped me understand how the brain works and how people receive information and kind of in steps, the steps that you need to do to make sure that they actually receive the information in the way that it was intended. So there are a lot, and also just statements and trying to stay positive with people. And when you're coaching, it's really important. I mean, when you're coaching, you have to be careful not to get into that therapy side of things.
Yeah, that's right. There's a
That's
fine line between, hey, are you coaching me, or are you being a psychologist now? Or I understand what you mean by that.
Well, that's just it. And I'm certainly nowhere near trained to give anyone any kind of therapy. So, they talk about that. And when you start to get into those phases and how to stay above that piece, and also to understand when somebody probably needs some professional help, and you can direct them in that area when it's needed.
Right.
But it was just really interesting for me, the brain science piece, where there were so many aha moments where I was like, whoa, really?
Yeah.
Jesus, I wish I knew this back when, so
Right.
it's, it was just more the science behind how the brain works and how people can stay on track with their goals and how you can help them to motivate themselves. So it's more about helping them to see what they're not seeing.
Yeah.
Themselves, right?
100% understand that. And again, the science part of it is what I'm always fascinated with. I know that that's a common subject matter in our household about, again, trying to figure out intention. And then when you think about how the brain works and leadership and all those pieces that connect with one another.
Well, the one really interesting thing too is that, a lot of times leaders will have a conversation with somebody that they're working with, and they'll say, what you should do is this, 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 and this.
Yes.
And instead of, allowing the person they're working with to come up with those solutions. So what they've found, and what I learned through that brain-based science, is that, they're much more willing to actually adopt what it is, the steps forward that they've determined they need to do if they come up with those ideas.
Oh,
rather than you telling them. I mean, in the moment, they're like, whoa, that's a really good idea. I'm going to do that. But the chances of them actually going through with it are much better if they came up with that idea themselves.
100% agree with that. Again, it was a new term for me. I wasn't aware of NeuroLeadership Institute, so I'm really
Yeah.
glad that I read that and I wanted to check it out. I'll read some more about it for sure as we move into the future. Hey, I just want to throw out a couple comments that you're getting online here. So I really appreciate when people are tuning in. Servant leader, absolutely, all about servant leadership, right?
100%. Yes.
You know,
You work for your people don't work for you.
Right, right. Here's a good friend, Rhonda Delaney, who basically said many believe that being a leader is just telling people what to do. It's all about them. Agree with Sarah's listening focus, right? So
Yeah, I agree, Rhonda. That's a really, really good statement. And, you know, some leaders don't understand. They don't have the awareness to know that it's not just about telling people what to do. So
right.
again, they come into it with great intentions, but they don't have the awareness to understand that that's not what's going to engage your people and help them be more productive.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
you have that compassion and empathy and the teamwork, that's where you're going to see results.
Absolutely. I love this as well. Caring is our superpower. That's a
Yes.
good little chant right there. And just for everyone to know, including yourself, Tara, Rhonda has an amazing podcast all about leadership as well. So certainly check out Rhonda on LinkedIn and then follow her podcasts all about leadership. As a matter of fact, today she just posted something about empathy and caring and kindness. I should say kindness within leadership. So I
Mhm.
just thought it was a really great bridge today to be having that. So thank you, Rhonda, for joining. Monica Johnstone. Sorry, great insights. Need to make sure I spend time being empathetic. Yes, well, we all do. Give and receive empathy. So it's absolutely, so it's absolutely critical in the world today. And a LinkedIn user. Sorry, I can't find it who's actually putting that up, but very interesting to hear about neuroscience behind effective coaching. So there you go, Tara. I just want to share a couple of those things with you. Let me
Right?
ask you about this. You're also a facilitator of something that's referred to as the 5 behaviors of cohesive team. Now, I haven't read this book. This book is from Patrick, and I'm going to say the name. Is it Lencioni?
Lencioni, yeah.
Lencioni, okay. And it's it says the 5 dysfunctions of a team. So I'm
Yeah.
just wondering, right, it's all about, trust and conflict and commitment, accountability and results. So those are what we're talking about here. But, you were drawn to this model. I'm wondering why you were drawn to this model and why you were convinced that this approach might help leaders be better. Why this model?
Yeah, that's a great question. And Patrick Lencioni is one of my favorite leadership authors. I just find that he doesn't get into the complexities. He keeps it very simple, but they're really good foundational pieces that I think every leader and every team member could really put it to use. So you're talking about the 5 dysfunctions of a team. That's one of his books. So yes, I went and I got facilitated to be a certification to be
Sure.
a facilitator for this. And the reason why I was drawn to it, and
Yeah.
he doesn't make this connection in his books, but I make a very distinct connection with this triangle that you just talked about, where you've got trust and conflict and commitment and accountability and results,
Right.
all right directly into compassion and empathy.
Right.
So, you are not going anywhere with that team if you haven't already built trust. So that's at the bottom of the pyramid, and that's
Okay.
foundational to being able to move forward. So when
Right.
you have trust within a team, and there are lots of different things that you can do to build that trust, but when you have trust, then you're able to move on to that next phase, which is having healthy conflict within an organization.
Mm,
Right? So when you have healthy conflict, then people are able to challenge each other. Nobody's scared to speak up. And then
right.
what happens? That's when you come up with your best ideas and your best results, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
people, and not only that, people have to weigh in order to buy in,
Oh, I
right?
like that. People have to weigh in order to buy in.
Exactly right.
I
And
love
so
that.
everybody needs to be part of this discussion at an executive table in order to move forward. And then once you have, there still might be one person who says, I really still disagree with it. But if most of the executive table has said, we're moving forward with this one idea because we all support it, next comes commitment. So that means the executive team commits to everything that you just decided. And then you come up with a plan on how you're going to cascade that information to the rest of the organization. But that's incumbent on every single leader to do that. And then you move into the accountability phase, which is a really difficult phase, challenging for people, right? Because holding other people accountable is not easy.
That's hard.
But it's compassionate because you are helping them by giving them good feedback. So, if it's at the executive table and it's one peer to another saying, we decided that we were all going to have our results posted quarterly, and you haven't done it the last 2 quarters. And that prevents me from being able to do this, this, and this. So what's going on? So it's not about blaming. It's about saying what's going on.
Yeah, what's going on? And you hit such an important word about trust. Being able to feel comfortable enough to go to a leader and openly have that discussion, or vice versa, for the leader to go to someone and say, "Listen, just want to have a conversation. It's not negative. It's just like, what's going on? That's how can I help it?" And if you don't have that trust and commitment and accountability, like like you said, where does it go? Where does it start?
Well, if you don't have trust, you're never going to hit the accountability piece. You're exactly right, because that accountability should be going up, down, and sideways. Right. So the leaders, the CEO at the organization should be able to say, anybody at any level can be coming to me and holding me accountable to what I said or what I did, whatever it is. And that's how you earn trust within an organization. So, people can say all sorts of things, but if you don't follow it up with action, nowhere.
Absolutely true. Hey, emotion creates emotion. I love that. That's an old Tony Robbins thing, but emotion creates emotion.
Yeah.
And you're right. Action is everything. So, you might have the greatest plans in place. You might have all the right procedures in place, but if you're not acting, so again, even from a coaching perspective, if you're coaching someone and you put those plans in place and so on, if you're not actually engaged with the action part of the coaching process and building that trust, because trust is a verb. I mean, really is. You trust people through their actions. I love the old phrase, watch what people do and they'll tell you who they are. And and watch what they do. Exactly. They'll tell you who they are. And when they show you through their actions, believe them. Don't believe their words, believe their action. So, again, it's the same old thing. Do as I say, not as I do. Those are old sayings and so on, but they're so applicable today because, again, social media, certainly social media, and in the news today, we can see leaders saying certainly one thing and then doing another.
Well, exactly. And then what happens? Their credibility is gone and they lose their trust. And that's very hard to build back up.
It is. It's interesting. COVID is like, hey, everybody, no one go on vacation. and you see a politician showing up. Yeah, we were in Maui for 2 weeks. Sorry about that. It's like, okay, well, leadership is optics is another thing that
and the other thing too is that when they see their leader doing that, then they feel empowered to do that same thing. Oh, really? We're all going to Hawaii? Well, excellent. Then I'm going to Hawaii too.
Totally. Well, did we not? Right. We've just experienced 4 to 5 years of that, in another part of this world where, when people actually lead from a certain way, gives permission to other people to act a certain way. So there you go. There's the perfect example of it.
It does. And that's, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No.
I want to make sure that I say it does, but people use that as an excuse sometimes too. Right. So yes, your leader is acting a certain way. And so I have seen that where people say, well, my leader's not doing it, so I'm not going to. Well, that's an excuse and that's easy. So no, you are responsible for your own behavior. So even if your leader is not acting the way that you would like to and that you need that leader to, you can still do it. You can still be that leader that everybody looks up to. You still have people under you.
Sure. And it's interesting you said that because I love the idea of leadership. I think it's Raman Sharma, but leader without a title, like leading without a title, that concept. There's multiple people who talk that subject, but like you said, just because you're not necessarily a manager or anything like that. Hey, listen, I got a surprise for you. I got a call right here. Someone who wants to chat with you. How cool is that? Let me just see if I can bring this in here. Hold on. I'm going to see if I can bring in. Is this my beautiful wife, Renuka Mohan?
Hello. Yes.
It is my beautiful wife, Renuka Mohan.
Oh,
And I told her who I was talking to today, and we were going to talk about neuroscience and leadership and all this stuff. And she's like, "Oh, I'd love to chat with her." And I was like, "Well, just call me."
really? Hello.
Hi, Tara. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. Having a great discussion with your husband.
Oh, it is exciting me beyond comparison. It's such an important topic. It's so exciting, though, to hear about the science behind coaching. What I wanted to say, though, I had a peek out on your website, and congratulations. It looks absolutely great, and I wish you a lot of success with that.
Thank you.
What I wanted to understand from you after hearing about the NeuroLeadership Institute, I love their scientific approach. And I've studied emotional intelligence and heart math and soul coaching. I wonder in your experience, how do you address any cynicism from leaders who might seem skeptical about this concept of empathy and compassion in the workplace?
That's a great question. Yeah, what do you think of that?
It is a great question. Well, I think that I understand it's a bit of an old way of thinking to think that those are soft components of leadership, because anybody who actually implements this compassion-based leadership sees results.
Oh, just hold on a second, Tara. We're experiencing the loss of the signal right now. So hold that thought if you're still with us, Tara, right this second. And we've been having this problem all day long. So I apologize to anyone listening to that answer right there. That was a great question, Renuka. So Renuka, if you're still there, just hold on a second here. We're having some technical difficulties with Tara and the internet connection that's happening. Just so people know how streaming works, this is a great time to explain that. What happens is my video signal goes out to a service, Tara's goes out to a service, and then we're at the mercy of them coming together. So what we're going to do right now is, let me just see if I can fix this. Watch this, everybody. I'm going to go here and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to see if I can add her back. And are you back with me right now?
I see you.
Hey, listen, one thing I like about producing shows is that I don't panic when it comes to the internet stuff. So please, your question that Renuka had a question about, how do you address cynicism or skepticism from leaders when you start talking about bringing in an empathy and compassion into the leadership role?
Yeah. And again, you do see some pushback on that for sure. But, to be honest, I don't see it as my role to get them to buy in on this. There is enough research out there, not just on brain-based coaching, but also the research on compassion and what it brings to an organization and how it helps people. So I can certainly direct them to that. But either people are willing to be open and they get it, or they don't. So I've made it a practice not to try to convince somebody. I think the best way is to use examples of CEOs who implement compassion and empathy into their organizations, and then they see results. And so I think there are a lot of really high profile organizations that do that. So, LinkedIn, I mean, he famously is Jeff, I'm losing his name right now, but he's the CEO of LinkedIn and is always preaching about compassion and how he values it within an organization. And there are a lot of high profile leaders who do the same thing. Southwest is famous for their implementation of values and empathy and compassion. And so, I would certainly help them understand that there are a lot of leaders who use it and how it was successful for them, but they have to be ready, particularly at a CEO level, at a C-suite level. They need to be ready to accept this and try to understand it. And if they're not ready for it. But I'm not going to try to convince them that it's the way to go.
Yeah. I love that. I love the fact that, I'm not here to convince you, shape you, mold you. I'm here to present information. And if that resonates with you, great. but you're trying to find people that are looking, you're looking for people looking for you. It's I love that idea that you're not trying to convince.
No,
How's that, Renuka? How's that for a cool answer, Renuka? Mohan?
I love that answer because in so many coaching spheres, you feel that you may have to do a little bit of convincing, but when you take away the idea of the ownership lies with the leader to make that decision and to inform themselves, it really takes you out of the equation of having to do that, and reduces any emotion around your ability to convince or not convince, and it just allows you to do your job as a coach much more effectively. So I love that response. Thanks so much, Tara.
Yeah, you're welcome. No problem. And I really feel so strongly about this. I know that it shows results for leaders. And so again, I really feel so good about this and believe that it can help organizations. And if they don't, then we're not a fit.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, hey, Renuka Mohan, long-time listener, first-time caller.
Thank you, Renuka. That's a really good question because so many people come up against this.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, darling.
Okay, thanks so much. Bye.
I'll see you later.
Thank you.
What a nice surprise, Peter.
Yeah, that was cool. So she mentioned, I said, well, just call me if you get a chance. So there you go. So I appreciate that. No, Renuka is very passionate about, soul coaching. She's been doing that for a long time. Soul coaching. She studied heart math through Heart Math Institute, the, EQ, IQ, these kinds of things. And so anytime you start using, the scientific approach, brain science when it comes to leadership and things like that, that catches a lot of people's attention, and it captured hers today when I said I was going to be speaking with you. So I hope you didn't mind me doing that.
Yeah, when you start to research something, and then you start to go down into the vortex, and
Right.
the compassion research that is out there right now is fascinating.
Yes.
And the neat thing is that when you use it in the workplace, and that's where I'm focusing everything, but when you use it in the workplace, it also ends up spilling over into your personal life. And it helps. I think it just helps you all around in life. And so there's the compassion to others, and then there's the self-compassion.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen, if you can't give what you don't have, right? I'm a big Wayne Dyer fan. And like you said, about self-compassion, how do you give compassion and empathy to someone if you don't have it for yourself? I'm a work in progress. So believe me, I'm not preaching to any choir right now, but you can't give what you don't have. So you're absolutely right. When you learn these things and so on, once you start internalizing them, then become second nature when you're actually leading a team and working towards that and so on. Hey, I just want to throw up another quick shout out to Karen Judge. You might know this person. Do you know Karen Judge?
Yes, Karen, I know her really well. I
can't wait. She says, you can't want something for someone more than they want it for themselves. Oh man, that's a show. That's a show right there.
I used to work with someone named Krista, and Krista always used to say, I can't care for you.
Right.
And that was an impactful statement.
Absolutely true. No, no, I love the fact that, like I said, these are the kinds of, this is what this attracts this kind of a conversation. And like you said, you have to be ready for it. I mean, C-suites that are skeptical about that, we're trying to find the ones that actually have this in their mind sight. So let me ask you this go ahead. Sorry.
Many do now.
Yeah, many do. I agree. I think in 2021, we're moving through that. And I think I read on your website, you suggested that the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to have this renaissance of certainly this decade of moving towards more compassionate leadership, correct?
I do believe that. I really do. I feel like we are in a movement right now towards a more compassionate society as a whole. Yeah. And so, which is great. But, with leadership, I just wanted to circle back a little bit on something that you said, where you can't give what you don't have in terms of compassion. And actually the research that they've done shows that you can be compassionate to other people, even when you're not compassionate to yourself. So you have some hate for yourself, but you still have the capacity to be compassionate to other people. But it sure makes it a lot easier when you're compassionate to yourself. It's very hard. People are hard on themselves, right? So
Oh,
and for all sorts of reasons, you know, too much to go into at this point, but
yes.
you know,
Certainly don't bring me into this conversation because I'm that person you just described. There's nobody in this planet harder on me than me. I mean, and so I understand what you mean by that. You can show a lot of caring and compassion,
yeah,
but your inner self-talk could be saying a completely different thing. And I read somewhere, which I love this, and I can't remember where I heard it. I got to write these quotes down, but about the idea of your inner dialogue. If it was being broadcasted right now for the world to hear, would you be proud of that?
right.
Would you be proud of that inner voice if it was broadcasted? It's like, whoa, that's a
And
big question.
would you ever say that to your friend?
Right. Would you say that to your friend? I've heard of
Your
this
friend
concept.
was struggling with some of the thoughts you're having. Would you ever say the things to your friend that you say to yourself?
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Okay, let's move along here, like, and because hey, your time is valuable. It's super super valuable, and I want to make sure that I squeeze
Yours, but I'm having fun.
every ounce out of you that I can. Here we go. How about this? Again, 2020 has not been kind, I don't think, to a lot of people. 2021 is also going to be, I think, challenging for sure. There's no doubt about that. So I'm just wondering for you personally, not about your business specifically, maybe not even, just a little bit in general. What keeps you hopeful right now these days for you? What keeps you hopeful and optimistic right now?
Hmm. When I keep moving forward, no matter how small the step, it keeps me hopeful.
Yeah.
It's when I feel like I'm not moving and I'm paralyzed,
Yeah.
in whichever way, whether it's emotionally or physically or whatever. It's just not, obviously not physically, in the paralyzed sense of the word, but if I'm not moving my body and if I'm not
Yeah.
thinking, using my brain, I I'm not moving forward and I don't feel hopeful. So I find that if I have a schedule and I keep, no matter how small the step is, keep moving forward towards something, it keeps me hopeful. And right now, I really genuinely feel hopeful, for this compassionate movement, because I believe it's here and I believe it's going to continue.
Awesome. Awesome answer. When we touched on it earlier, motion creates emotion. So as you feel like you're physically moving, like you said, physically
Yeah.
moving with it, and physically could be, like you said, scheduling things. You mentioned scheduling things, doing things, following through on the little promises you've made for yourself.
Yeah.
I totally relate to that. And so I'm just wondering, on this journey that you're on now, then, building your own business as an entrepreneur and going into this, this realm of coaching with C-suites and so on. What are you most proud of? What are you most proud of on your journey right now, your personal journey?
Hmm. That I continued to move forward. There are always limiting beliefs that we have, but it's about moving forward with it. So, yeah, I went through that phase of, you know, why do you think you could be a coach? Why do you think you could be a leadership coach? And
Sure,
how are
sure.
you what are you gonna bring to this? And I had to really think about it, and so I had some self-doubt, and um, I'm proud of myself that I moved through that. But I had to really think about it and think about what I could bring to people. And I think there's a lot to offer. And I've had other people help me along the way. And so
Yes.
I'm grateful for all of that and all of the education. I mean, I'm proud that I took steps to learn. And I'm proud that I launched my website yesterday, and
Yes.
that means you move forward, right? So it was just one little step forward as I continued into this. And so I think that's what I'm most proud of, that I did it. I kept moving.
Absolutely. Keep moving. Keep moving. It's that duck, the feet of the duck underneath the water there. That's what it is. It's
True. It's true.
right. Making everything look so calm here. And then underneath, you're just kind of doing your thing. I get it.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's have some fun. Let's have some fun. It can't be all serious about neuroscience and all that stuff. Part of the brain is the fun side of the brain. So one of the things that I've noticed about connecting with people on LinkedIn is that you can go into their profile and see all kinds of different things. But, of course, we're just seeing, barely the tip of the iceberg. And so I love this segment that I've developed called This or That. This or That. Okay. So it's really, really simple. Right.
I like it.
No, No game show or anything like that. I'll name two things, you choose, and it'll give us a little insight into the mind of Tara McCool. How about that?
Okay, you
Good?
bet.
You ready to? Yeah. Okay. Good. Let's
Ready.
play. Now, I should ask you first, though. I've asked before. I'm gonna have to temper this question because this is more about me than you. This one. So, do you drink alcohol? I'm just curious.
Yes. Yep. I do.
Okay. So we'll start with this: whiskey or wine?
Oh. Well, I love wine. It just gives me a headache. Yeah, wine. Red.
I love the fact you had to think about it. That's me.
No, I do. I like whiskey too, but I love a heavy glass of red wine, but I just really feel it.
Me too. Listen, we are so similar. We'll talk about that another time. Okay, so how about a Catwoman or a Wonder Woman?
I like Catwoman's outfit better, but I'd say, oh, that's hard because they're both very different. I'm gonna say Wonder Woman. She's got a power pose. Wonder Woman.
Yeah, she does have that. She has that invisible plane thing happening too.
Yeah, Catwoman's a little sneakier. I think Wonder Woman. She's right out there in your face, telling you everything she is.
I get it. How about rock and roll or country?
Rock and roll.
If rock and roll, so 60s music or 80s music?
Oh, 80s.
80s, yeah. My hair's stuck in the 80s. So yeah. 1987, slippery when wet, all day long.
I had your hairstyle at one point. I had about 1,000 hairstyles while I was on TV. A lot of them not attractive. But I did have yours for a little bit, the shag.
Yeah, I know. I haven't gone. I don't know. I'll grow out of this one day. I really will.
Good on you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Part of your personality.
Hey, listen. As long as I can grow it, I'm keeping it going. Right? How about if I need to connect with you, text you or call you?
Text.
Chinese food or Italian food?
Oh. Well, I have a gluten intolerance, which makes Italian food difficult, but I love it.
Right.
So I have to say Chinese because it's rice.
Got it. But you like heavy red wine. So red wine with Italian? Come on.
Yeah, I know.
All
right?
day long. Oh, yeah. For breakfast. Yeah, for breakfast.
There are really good gluten-free pastas that are coming out now. So
yeah.
Okay,
I
like it a little better.
How about for travel? Europe or the Caribbean?
Oh, depends on what I need the vacation for, but I'm going to say Europe.
Now why is that? So if you needed a rest, you would go the Caribbean. If you wanted to explore, you're going to Europe.
Yeah, going to Europe. Yeah, I think they're different. I think Caribbean is turn your brain off, and I think Europe is studying culture and history and enjoying. Which it's still a vacation, but
sure.
I would need to. It would depend on what I needed.
Yeah, got it. I understand that. How about this? Live theater or going to the movies?
Live theater.
Yeah, I love that experience too.
I love movies too, but there's just something about live that's it right here. It hits you right in your heart.
Absolutely.
I almost cry.
Oh, right. Yeah,
it's
so emotional.
I cry at the sad. If it's something live, I'm crying. Whether it's a wedding or a Dave Kelly live production, I cry at everything.
I'm crying. That's awesome. How about this? How about sunrise or sunset?
Oh, very different emotions come with both of those. Sunrise.
Okay.
It's the beginning.
Yes, absolutely. How about this? A day on Necker Island with Richard Branson or a day in Dublin with Bono?
Oh, Richard Branson, 100%.
Why is that?
To sit down with that brain for an hour. Haven't you done that? Didn't you go?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, it's pretty spectacular. Yeah.
Oh, I want to hear all about that.
Yeah, we'll do a show on that. Maybe we'll talk about that another time for sure.
Yeah, but I just think to tap into that visionary brain with some of your own ideas or what. I just think it would be a cool conversation.
Oh, yes, it is. Just so you know, it
Mm,
is. So,
I
but
bet.
going back to the whiskey and wine, for me, of course, whiskey and being a musician. Listen, in
Oh,
Ireland, my liver's Irish, so a day in Dublin with Bono, forget about it.
it. You're doing it.
I'm doing it like tomorrow. I wish that it's on my hope. It's
To
on
be
my list.
fair, though, you've already had the Richard Branson experience.
Well, that's true. So that's probably an unfair comparison. It's true, but I'm wondering if I didn't, what would I choose? Because I really do I do love all things U2 and Bono and all things Irish. Let's start there. All things Irish.
I
But
love
that's
the old music,
Yeah.
the old stuff.
Right.
It's so good.
Yeah, 1987. When we talk about the Joshua Tree and stuff, hey, that's another show altogether. How about this? How about this one? Hope or freedom?
I think the two are very intertwined. Hope.
Hope.
Yeah, 100%. Because if you're not free, you've still got the hope to be free.
Love that. Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. Love that. Finish this sentence for me. I love my life because.
I don't know. I changed my answer, I think. I was just like, if I'm not free, I'm gonna.
You're going back to the other. You're still thinking.
I know. I was like, oh, I don't. The thought of all of a sudden I went to all the people who are not free. I was like, geez, that's
No. Hey, listen. No right or wrong there. You listen. No right. We could sit. You could get major scholars to sit and talk about those two concepts of hope and
Well,
freedom.
now I'm gonna obsess about it all day.
Well, the cool thing is you got lots of hope for the future, and you are free to do so. So you have both. You have both, right? So let's go back to the last one here for me. I love my life because.
I love my life because I have an amazingly supportive community of friends and family who I love and who I know will always be there for me no matter what.
Oh, you know what that is? Here we go. You know what that is? Boom.
Oh, the brain explosion. I like that. Good sound effect.
That was nice. Well, I love the boom. I love the boom effect anyway, but that beautiful mic drop right there. Yeah, it's about the people in your life. You surround people with great people that inspire you, that want you to be better, that really cheer you on for your wins and are there for your losses, and you have to call somebody in the middle of the night and you're somewhere on the other side of the world and you have one call. That's those are great people. You want people like that.
I have that. I'm really grateful.
So you're blessed with that. You're absolutely blessed with that. That is absolutely fantastic. Hey, I want to throw up. So thank you for that. Appreciate that. Here's a Karenism from Dose of Happiness. If you can't fly, run. If you can't walk, right? If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But whatever you do, keep moving forward. Martin Luther King. So like you talked earlier, motion, right? Moving forward.
That's exactly right. Just little steps will change your whole mindset.
Absolutely. Tara McCool, it has been an amazing pleasure to speak with you. I knew it. And as soon as I saw that you released your new website, I said, I got to reach out to her and we need to have this conversation. So for everybody out there, 𝘵𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙤. Now, I put that up earlier just so you know, because when you look back at this, you'll laugh because my producer, for some reason, must have had an extra whiskey last night. But underneath your name there, it says 𝘵𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙤𝑐om.com.
Just the .com.
It's just .com, everybody. Hey, it's just .com. I'm going to fire my graphic designer this afternoon. You're looking at him right now. So, we'll have to take care of that guy for sure. It's been a pleasure to talk to you. I wish you great success with your new website. And I certainly hope that people will at least be open to that conversation we just talked about when it comes to C-suite, bringing empathy and compassion into their leadership style. So I sure hope that you have great success with that. And if people want to learn more about that, go to 𝘵𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙤com. Sound good?
Thank you so much for bringing me on. And I love that we had some community engagement too with thought leaders in this area. I love it. This is what this is all about.
Yeah. we have to do more of this. We certainly have to do more of this where it's a little bit more engaging and bring more people into this conversation. And I'm working on ways to do that. Hey, listen, we can have callers. We can do it all. We'll do it. We'll do it again. I'm sure of it another time. And maybe we can bring a panel of people together to talk about some of these concepts. I wish you great success. Stay healthy. And we look forward to the next conversation that you and I have together. Stick around. I'll talk to you after the show here if you got a couple seconds here. And for everyone else, thanks for joining us here on LinkedUp on LinkedIn. We were live on LinkedIn and YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and Facebook and all those other places. Reach out to me if you can. Love to hear from you if you got any suggestions for upcoming shows and guests. And by all means, everybody, just be kind out there. How about that? Just be kind. All right, Tara, we'll see you. We'll see everybody. Thanks.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Wanted to do this. Thank you, Dublin.